Good morning. I have a problem. I have a really hard time getting rid of things. And let's be honest, maybe we have a problem. Netflix released a series in early 2019 called Tidying Up with Maria Kondo that was quite popular. The show consists of Maria, a small, obsessive-compulsive Japanese woman going into people's homes and coaching them through her KonMari method of decluttering. At the crux of the decision-making process is whether or not the object brings you joy. If it brings you joy, you keep it. If not, you get rid of it. Contrast that with my decision-making process, which I like to call the MacGyver Method. I look at the object and ask myself, might I someday, in some way, need this object to construct some sort of rudimentary lathe to save my life? This method has allowed me to retain all matter of baubles, doodads, trinkets, and curiosities. I don't recommend it. Now, I'm not at the hoarder level, but I'd say I'm borderline packrat. My real issue is that I have a hard time throwing things out that are functionally sound or in good to great condition and that I may need someday. I also have a hard time overcoming the friction of the work and the cost to do anything about it. So things sit and eventually make it into boxes. Then I carry unopened boxes from old domicile to new domicile for storage before relocating to yet another new domicile, a process Kenneth might call moving. And between these moves, the number of unopened boxes has grown. Back in December and January, I was on a 30-day sabbatical from work. One of my goals over this time period was to tackle this cumulative mini crisis. I was going to birth this clutter via C-section if I had to, but I first had to overcome my moral issue. I cannot contribute perfectly good things to a landfill. A little part of my soul dies when non-trash gets trashed, much like food being left on a plate. After a bit of research, I was able to make peace with the purge. There's a certain joy in matching things to an exact and proper afterlife and doing so efficiently. The greater the efficiency in disposal and the higher the probability that the good would be reused, the easier it was for me to pull the trigger. All right, let's warm up with some of the easy routine stuff, shall we? I have a recycle bin that I already use on a regular basis to get rid of cardboard, plastics, aluminum, magazines, junk paper, and mail. I wheel it out to the end of my driveway along with yard waste, and the city picks it up. Easy. Next, glass. I keep another bin for glass that I occasionally drop off at a Ripple glass dumpster. They're not that hard to find, and this task can usually be done while on another errand. Also easy. When the cardboard, yard waste, and glass start to exceed a trivial amount, I can always make a special trip to Olathe's drop-off center on Hedge Lane. A little extra work, but quick for getting rid of bulk in batch. Documents. This is a tough one. Sometimes you actually have to keep the physical copy around, but most of the time scanning and shredding is the easier option. Doing this allows me to get rid of the waste and the clutter while still having access to what was on the paper in a leaner, more accessible format. I scan and store in Evernote, which allows me to search and access these documents via all of my devices. I also have a personal shredder at home, but I have the option of dropping off sensitive documents at work in a bin for professional document destruction. Books. Step 1, stop the bleeding. Don't buy any more physical books. Similar to documents, you can go completely digital. I have hundreds of books on my Kindle, much more space efficient and accessible. If I want a physical book, which I don't, I can use the library or borrow from a friend. As far as getting rid of existing books, the library accepts donations, as does half-price books. As I found out, the library also accepts DVDs and CDs. I think you would agree that these formats feel a bit antiquated at this point. Clothes and shoes. Do I really need 50+ t-shirts? Will I ever fit a size 33-inch waist again? And if I do, will the clothes even be in the right era of fashion? The answer to these questions is no. A lot of donation options here, but if you don't want to see or interact with another human, and you want to drop stuff off in your pajamas, I recommend the yellow Planet Aid bins you can find randomly scattered about the city. Find one near your home or on your commute and drop off a bag or two on a regular basis. Now to a few specialty items. I'm glad Mark is not on the phone. Because lawnmowers. I am definitely where lawnmowers go to die. At one point in my garage, I had 3 lawnmowers. I was able to donate one to my brother-in-law for repair and reuse. Over break, I dropped off another at Smitty's, a local lawn and garden shop that recycles for free. Good riddance. Electronics. I had about 5 old computer towers in my home, extra printers, VHS, DVD players, old cell phones, and cords. Olathe recycles and accepts all of these things. Super easy drop off. Conveniently, it is the same location that accepts hazardous waste. I had old paint, stain cans, cleaners, and oils from my last house and my mom's house. These are not safe for the trash. I loaded it all up along with the electronics, drove slowly and carefully so as not to explode, and dropped it off in less than 5 minutes. Pro tip, if you're an Olathe resident, you can sift through these materials and pick stuff up for free as well. Kids goods. My wife found Children's Orchard at 119th and Strang Line. I was able to drop off our unused excess diapers and sell a bouncer for $10. I was just hoping to get rid of it, but they pushed money on me. They will buy back and resell all sorts of kids' goods and clothes. It was super easy. Finally, I had a car tire in my garage for over a decade. I had convinced myself that I could use it for something. Maybe I'd need it for a tire swing someday. I didn't even have kids at the time I convinced myself of this. Maybe I'd swing a war hammer at it for exercise. Neither of these things happened. I don't own a war hammer. Maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, I found out that Costco recycles tires for $1. I threw it in the trunk on a routine trip to Costco. Poof, gone. Not everything can be recycled. Some stuff is really just trash. I had an old broken wheelbarrow, an old foam bed topper, an old patio table, broken office chair, etc. There are all kinds of junk hauling services, but they all seem a bit too expensive to me and required me to round things up. I wanted a more passive option that was cheaper. Thankfully, the city of Olathe came through again. They will drop off and pick up a subtle gray dumpster in your driveway for what I considered a relatively low cost. I went with the weekend option in the larger bin. They dropped it off Friday morning and I picked it back up on Monday. It was automatically billed to my existing Olathe Services account and was just $75. I casually filled it up over the weekend and by Monday it was all gone. Couldn't have been easier. I learned a lot through this purge. As I shed excess junk and found some quick outlets, it became easier. I gained momentum through the positive reinforcement of finally letting go. A lot of it was guilt-free because I found the right home for each category of thing. I came to see myself as Charon, the ferryman on the river Styx, shuttling these poor goods from our world to the next. Yeah, I hear it's hot over there, but it's a dry heat. Despite finding better options, all this disposal still doesn't sit well with me. It feels a bit like the excretion of a consumerism rat race and reminds me that I'm really only treating the symptom. Fixing the problem means never buying any of this crap in the first place. If you have your own craptastrophe and want to know more or have even better suggestions, let's talk. This is an ongoing battle. Thank you.